welcome to Should I Buy This Game, featuring Jewels for the Emperor Penguin. My name is Christine, and in this video I'll give you an overview of how the game is played, and then share a few things I may like or dislike about the game to help you decide if you want to add Jewels for the Emperor Penguin to your collection. Here we have the game Jewels for the Emperor Penguin, and I just want to start off by saying that this game was given to us to review, but we are not being paid for this video. Everything I say is completely my experience. So in this game, we are collecting jewels. Our penguins are being sent out there to collect the jewels. So we can buy these beautiful pieces of jewelry with the specific jewels that are needed. Now you want to collect 5 cards, which triggers the end of the game. And once the game end is triggered, each other player gets one more chance to collect jewels and get a card. So I'm going to show you how the game is played. So we start off with 3 die that we've rolled. Now when you start the game, you can make one of them a snowflake, which is a wild. And these die coordinate with our numbers on our penguins. Now this space we have also on the back has a hidden symbol. These symbols coordinate up here with the symbols on the cards. So if you collect this card and this symbol, then this card is worth an additional 2 points at the end of the game. So what we do is we take one of these to move. So I'm going to use the 1. I would take it off, which means that I am using my number 1 penguin. Now when we're going up, we go up diagonally. And you can go, so my choice is I can go here, here, or here. So maybe I will start by going up here in the middle. And it allows me to collect 1 green jewel. And then it allows me, as well as if any other penguins were on this space, to collect a red jewel as well. Once you collect your jewels, you look at the cards to see, have I fulfilled any of the cards? And because it's early in the game, I have not. And then my turn would be over. I'd come back, I'd re-roll my die and put it back on my little area. Then my opponent would do the same thing. Maybe they want to use their number 2. They would go maybe here. They would receive 2 red jewels. And then as the action for anybody that's on the space, they could exchange 1 red for 1 green. They too would look, but it's early, so they can't fulfill a card. They would roll it and put it back onto the space. So I would come back over here, and maybe this time I'm going to use my number 3. So my number 3, I can now what we call bump. So if I was to move my number 3 penguin where my number 1 is, because 3 is larger than 1, I can bump this guy. And I can bump him here, or I can bump him here. So maybe I'm going to bump him here. So wherever your last penguin moved, which would be our bump penguin, that is the action you can get. And as you move up the area, you're going to get better and better actions. So for this one, I would receive 2 red jewels, and I could move my die, one of my dies, up or down 1. So if I look over here, maybe I would change the 5 to a 4, which means I would play my number 4 penguin on a future turn. Now on the anybody action, I could change 1 red for a green, so I'll do that. And I now have 2 reds and 2 greens. When I look up here though, I'm really needing diamonds and the sapphires before I'll be able to do anything. So I'm going to take another turn for my opponent. And they're going to use, oh, I forgot to re-roll my die. Okay. They're going to use number 4. So maybe they're going to bump their penguin as well, since 4 is greater than 2. So it comes here, and this penguin's going to be bumped here where my other little penguin was. So they will as well receive the 2 red, And they can change one of their dies. So maybe they want to move this 2 to a 3. Now that there's one of each of us here, we're both allowed to take this action to exchange a red to a green. And then I can do the same on the other side and change a red to a green. So that is when two penguins are there, they're both able to take this action. And you're going to continue working your way up. Now, if on a turn I wanted to go down, I can go straight down. And when you go straight down, you're taking this action here. So I could go down here if I had played at my 3, and I would receive 2 red jewels. Now that I've gone down and I ended up here in the market, you can also exchange things. So I could I can do 2 of these actions. So if I wanted, I could exchange 2 green to get a blue. And then over here, I could exchange a green and a blue for a diamond. So now that I have a diamond and 3, I look up here and I'm actually able to get this card. It needs 1 diamond and 1 ruby, and it's worth 5 points. So I could take this card and I exchange my diamond and my ruby, and that would be the first card in my area. And then we would just put a new card in its place. And that is how the game is played. You use your die to coordinate with one of your penguins, and your penguins move up. Bumping is as long as it's larger. If there was a 5 and the 2 came, then the 5 would not be bumped, and we would do this action. Now, if you have 2 of your own colors, then I'd be able to get 2 rubies over here, 1 for each of my penguins. And you're just moving your way up and down the board, collecting the gems to fulfill your cards. And the first 1 to 5 cards triggers the end of the game. It doesn't necessarily mean they win. The first person to get 5 cards, though, does get the bonus card of 4 points. And you add up all your points, and whoever has the most points wins. So now a few things we like about the game. And the first one is that the board is actually customizable. So these are a lot of the starting tiles that when you first start playing, they suggest you use. But there's another stack of more tiles to use. Now each of the tiles have a letter connected to it, and it shows where to place it on the board, because as you go up, you're going to get better benefits. And so there's a whole other stack that you can mix and match. So every time you play, you can have different benefits on the board, which makes the game a lot more interesting. The other thing we really like are the components with the jewels and the little wooden penguins and the dice. It's all really nice components to play the game. And then, of course, there is the light strategy of which way you're going to go. Are you bumping? Are you dropping? And how are you getting the combinations you need to get the cards that you need to score your points? And are you going to get the card with 4 points? Maybe you have one of the symbols, or are you going for the card with 8 points or 10 even? So you're trying to decide, are you holding on to your jewels, or are you going to cash them in to get the cards? And now for a few challenges of the game. The one comes in with your symbol, that my opponents tend to get cards with their symbols, but half the time when I wanted a card, my symbol wasn't appearing. And so Gemma ended up getting 4 cards with her symbols on it, whereas I got 2. And getting those 2 extra points really does help benefit. However, if you're looking at this card here, maybe it has your symbol, it would be worth 6 points. Whereas if you did have the jewels, this one's 8. So you're trying to decide, is getting a card with my symbol and the 2 points beneficial, or is it better to get one without my symbol but worth higher amounts? So that was the only sort of challenging part to the game. But otherwise, it's a very cute game, and I think this game would be best played with a family. They suggest it for 9+. So I think if you were an adult playing with your kids, everybody would have a really great time playing it. The only thing I found with playing with 3 adults is that it was a little, we like games with a little more strategy to them. So for us personally, it isn't the game that we would necessarily play often. However, I see it as a family-orientated game, would be really fun for adults as well as the children, and it'd be really great to play all together as a family. So let me know if you have played Jewels for the Emperor Penguin and what you think of the game.